Do not sign an exclusive agreement. There is no reason to. Zero. The agent wants you to because they want to, quote unquote, lock you in.
Mhm.
You need the flexibility. If they don't want to work with you with a non-exclusive contract, run.
Welcome to another episode of We Fixed Real Estate. We have Jen May here on the show today, along with Fred Glick, and Jen's got some really exciting news. Jen, tell us about yourself and tell us about this exciting news.
I'm Jen. I live in Arcadia. I've been an agent with Arrivva for 3 years. And we just got a listing in Arcadia that sold for asking price, even though it had a bunch of challenges that the normal house doesn't have. It was a big lot, but it was backed right up against the 210 freeway. And it really deterred a lot of people because of the noise in the background. But for the most part, the people that came out knew the noise wasn't going to be a problem because we put it in the description to prevent people from coming and getting discouraged by the noise. We still did get a few people. We got one guy who said that he found the outside to be deafening. But we did a lot to prep the house before we listed it to make sure that the noise couldn't be heard from the inside when people were looking at the house, and that the house was more suitable for more buyers. When we first saw the house, before we listed it, the walls were teal and they had wallpaper in different colors in different rooms. But after talking to the seller, we convinced them to paint all the walls a subtle color, a white color, and to make the floors a lighter color too, because they had very dark laminate floors that didn't really fit the house. So we switched over to an engineered one with a lighter color, and it made the house look bigger. Even though it was a already big house, it did help attract more people. We even got some potential buyers who came just to look at the design of the house, to take some pictures for their personal house, I guess. It
Was a marquee house, or is a marquee house, whoever bought it. It's getting a very famous house in that area that Einstein might have been in once.
Yes.
The original owner who built the house went to Caltech with Einstein, and they were friends. He could have possibly been at the house. We aren't for sure.
Yeah, it's the old thing back east. Everybody puts Washington slept here kind of thing.
Now, the one big thing that the buyer said in the Google review, and you got a glowing review on this, was that he could not believe that you sold the house for asking price. The secret to your success, I think, was that you managed the expectations of potential home buyers when they go there. They know it's backing up against the 220. They know that this and that, but you also went on to say, we have double pane windows here. And you were able to advise the client to make some real key changes that would really move the needle on the asking price, such as the painting the walls, and putting in a different floor. Pretty impressive expertise to navigate that listing.
It takes a little nuance, but these people understood. Matter of fact, here's a little picture of the back of the house. I didn't get the whole thing, but maybe I should share the screen and show you. Show people.
We should have taken some before and after photos.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. So you see this picture is the 280 is kind of back this way. So it goes right up against there. It doesn't really show real big, but this was a giant yard down here. We had the pool, the little place to go. It's a great looking house. Yeah, but we had to there were some interesting things about it. The pool was salt water, which is pretty cool. And had a cover, but you take the cover off and it's not as hot. It's crazy as that sounds. But you can see the slider back here. That was double pane. All these other windows, double pane. Their slider there, double pane. So you didn't even need triple pane because it was still far enough away, but you kind of get the idea. But yeah, we take this with every house. We look at it like a buyer would look at it. That's all we care about. We also look at it for pricing because sellers think they know, my house is worth X. It's not worth X because nobody's willing to pay that. And there's a lot of overpriced listings out there. And that's why, because either sellers want a number and the agent just takes the listing to get a listing, or the listing agent is telling you, oh, I can get you X. No, you got to price it right. If we price this higher, we never would have sold it. You know,
We were also up against the Zillow estimate before we listed it. The Zillow estimate was saying, I'm not sure exactly where they got the number, but they were saying a lot more than,
because it probably didn't take into consideration the highway noise. Zillow's estimates can't do that. The algorithm is generic square footage, house square yard footage. So you got to look at these little pieces of information. But as I was saying, buyers, that's all we care about. What is a buyer going to see when they come in the door? What is a buyer going to look at when they look at the MLS listing? The words have to be correct. We have to make them come to the place or want to come to the place. That's our job as listing agents, especially when it's going out on Redfin, Zillow, et cetera, et cetera. And we just got impressed upon people. This is it. And that's what we try to do. So we did it with this. It took about 30 days to sell. It didn't fly off the shelf day one, but we had some people interested in one. And this one buyer just came in and loved it.
Didn't exactly languish either. 30 days in this market isn't too bad.
No, definitely not.
Now, full service representation, you helped them with all this like guidance and key insights to get this house sold that the seller admittedly was surprised that they got full price on this house. All this, and what was their Arrivva savings?
Well, if let's think it was 2.5, make easy math. Let's say 3% is $75,000. We charge $15,750. So basically around 60 grand is what they saved.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And we did not offer any compensation to a buyer. We just said, hey, it's negotiable within the contract. And that's what it ended up doing. So, because here's the thing, and it's crazy out there. If you make an offer, in the contracts in California, you actually have to put in how much buyer broker compensation you want to get. And it better match that buyer broker compensation agreement that you signed, that the agent signed with you. Now, there's been some agents out there who found this form that you can change the buyer broker compensation later down the road. Say you go to a new construction site, and this is what they've been doing. Some of these companies, they blast out, hey, we'll give you 2% or 3% or whatever. And then these people sneak around, oh, I can get you into this property, but there's this form you have to sign in order to get an appointment. It's a complete lie.
Wow.
And so these people are these agents are trying to get more compensation. Again, we don't care because we have a flat fee. So we're never going to ask you to sign another buyer broker fee for a higher amount. So that it's absolutely ludicrous.
Is that what Wendy is selling later? Is that what we were talking about earlier?
Exactly. There was an agent. This agent was bitching about it on TikTok that she out on a few $1,000 because she didn't get the updated thing signed because the seller was offering X. Why, as a seller, would you come out and say, hey, I'll give you 3%? You're negotiating against yourself. So everybody knows kind of the format is there, except up in Seattle, Washington State, in the Northwest MLS, they want you to list what the buyer broker compensation is. And if you list 0, you might have a problem. Even if you put it in the notes, hey, it's completely negotiable, whatever your buyer broker fee. And what that's telling me is all these agents are still charging 2.5%, 3%. And it's like a wink situation. If we took all the Northwest MLS listings and looked at them to see what the compensation is, and I'm going to actually try to do that and bring it to you next week. They've fixed the market, and they got another class action suit coming against them, and they're trying to price fix. So, all these guys doing it wrong, they get more business than us. So the question is, how do they convince you as a buyer that you should use them and not us? I don't know. Lies. That's about it.
To the inexperienced real estate person, let's break it down just very simply. The first step is you find an agent, a buyer's agent. then you're going to make an offer on the house. But when you sign up with the buyer's agent, are you negotiating the buyer broker fee then, or do you
Absolutely.
negotiate it per house?
No, you absolutely get one contract with one amount that says you're going to do this for X percent or X number of dollars.
Or a
That's
flat
it.
fee?
Right. And you should never change it to go, especially to go higher, because that you're just getting ripped off at that point.
The
And
buyer.
well, you have a buyer broker fee that's exclusive. Don't worry about it. There is no way they're going to enforce that, because once they do something wrong, they voided the contract. If they're trying to do sneaky stuff to you and lies and you've caught them in it, just walk away from them and find another broker. And don't sign an exclusive contract. It's like getting married on the first date. It's ridiculous.
So you sign a contract, you agree to a buyer broker fee of 2.5%. Then you're going to go buy a home and the seller has a listed buyer broker fee of 0%. How is that contract?
In the physical California realtor agreement of sale to buy a property, you have to exactly list how much you want the seller to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So you put in there 2.5%. Well, if it's $1 million house, the seller wants $1 million net,
Mm-hmm.
and you're asking for 2.5%, that's 25 grand. That makes their net 975. And the seller's going to come back as, okay, I'll pay your 25 grand, but the price now is $1,025,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to happen. It's what the seller nets, and that's the most important thing.
The negotiations all come at the very start of the process before you start looking for a house.
And look at more than just the price. Look to see, again, if it's exclusive or not. Do not sign an exclusive agreement. There is no reason to. Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the agent wants you to because they want to, quote unquote, lock you in.
Mm-hmm.
You need the flexibility. And if they don't want to work with you with a non-exclusive contract, run. Because that means they're trying to lock you in. They're trying to play games with you. Hey, if you come with us and you don't like using us for, I don't know why, for one reason or another, or your cousin just got his license and your mother is telling you have to use them, or you're going to not be able to go to Thanksgiving dinner, stuff happens. We understand. And that's why a non-exclusive agreement, because we want to build your trust.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we know what we're doing and, you like what we're doing, and we're here to be helpful. And another thing, we work out a Slack channel, so the communication is insanely good. Ask your agent if they even know what Slack is. Awesome. Because 99% of them have no clue.
And the client that we had on 2 weeks ago says that was one of the things he was most impressed about, was the thorough communications and how easy it was to isolate the different discussions on all the properties he was looking at into each one of the little channels, and it made it so much easier.
Yeah, exactly. And we got a lot of stuff built in there. I'm trying to automate it better. We actually have a canvas that's going to put you through the entire process and give you every single thing that could possibly happen and what to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
So this canvas is going to be the blueprint for how to do a real estate transaction once you're in with us. So it makes life easier.
Well, at least life's getting easier in one aspect. I think there's a few other aspects in life right now that are getting a little more difficult, such as the executive branch of the United States.
Let's talk interest rates, my favorite subject. Okay. Number one, and let's go back to this. No one but the actual market, 10-year treasury, mortgage-backed securities, sets interest rates. That's it. Chairman Powell, nothing. Members of the Fed, nothing. All they're doing is controlling what's called the Fed funds rate.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what member banks borrow money at. Those banks don't turn around and give it to residential mortgages. They give it to commercial mortgages, and maybe a second a line of credit that you have, or a home equity line of credit. That's it. 30-year fixed. There's nobody who's controlling it. So the president has decided he's firing, he's screaming and yelling that the rates should be dropped, but that's actually not going to help interest rate. I have seen since the day that interest rates drop by the Fed, mortgage rates go up because everybody anticipated it. It is like the stock market. Every minute price can change. If the Bank of Japan decides they're not buying any more 10-year treasuries, guess what? The value of the treasuries goes down, the yield goes up. They need to attract a higher yield to get people to buy it. So today it went up from about 4.2 to 4.5. So the fact that the president comes out and fires one of the Fed governors, which is never going to hold up. Also, the reason he said was because she committed mortgage fraud, when in fact she did not commit mortgage fraud. We have people in California who buy a house, they'll buy, let's say in Palo Alto for $4 million, and then they buy a house in Beverly Hills for $2 million because their office is in both cities. And so they need a place to stay when they get to LA. It's their primary residence. You can have two primary residences. But here's the crazier thing. You can also have a second home, and the second home interest rates are exactly the same as the primary residence. How about a senator? Senator X from the state of Idaho, who lives out there and with his constituents because you have to, but he's in, the Senate half the year. So he's got a place in Maryland. That's the primary residence. He lives there 6 months a year. He lives in the other place 6 months a year. So it's not mortgage fraud. It's politics, kids. And the rates aren't going to go down because Otis says so. They're going to go down because the market says so. So that's it in a nutshell. So you don't have to sit on social media anymore hearing about all this stuff going on.
On to brighter and better news. Let's talk about the appraisal waiver over $1 million.
Okay. So I did a deep dive, kids.
Yes.
And found out some more reasons. So what's going on is basically the Fannie Mae limit, if you average the 806 and the 1.2 insurance, is about $1 million. So what it's about is mortgage liquidity. So the markets, the buyers, all the big MBS buyers have decided that $1 million is the max liability they want to take on a value. Because if it goes higher, then if the market goes bad, they have a liquidity problem. So I still think it's an insurance problem, and this is kind of masking it. But the bottom line is you still cannot get an appraisal waiver if your value is over 999. So if I have a $400,000 loan on a $5 million house, I'm going to put the value at 999 so we can get an appraisal waiver. So there are little tricks if you have enough loan to value, and probably you can try it at 80%, but it's probably safer at 75. There's no guideline for this. You just have to try. So if you're refinancing, your house is worth a gazillion, but your loan is low, try the 999 value and see if you get an appraisal waiver. If not, you're paying $400, $500, $600, $700. It's a complete waste of money.
And on one last, for those people still around, we've got a pretty good tip going for you. What happens when you just can't find a house and you're SOL? You've got a good buyer tip for how to find a house when you're priced out of everything.
One word: ugly. Find the absolute worst pictures you could find. And it's usually, you're going to find this in a house that's on the market 30 days or longer. So set your search at 30 days because everybody's looking at the stuff that's new. There's something wrong with every house that's priced like this, but some of them are as simple as they took it with their iPhone 7, the pictures, and uploaded them. There's still like dogs sitting around, or just clutter, or just, from 2 miles away, they took a picture of the house. I'm exaggerating, of course, but you know what I mean. Go see those houses because it's not attracting anybody. Like we talked about earlier, the whole idea was to attract people to come to the house, think like a buyer. These agents are, I don't know what they're thinking, but they're not thinking like a buyer. So the idea is to take a look at the ugly stuff and you never know. Another thing, we have a problem in San Francisco now. I mean, it's a good problem for a seller, but I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months ago, San Francisco was still and the mayor hadn't really implemented all the stuff. And AI hadn't really progressed as much with office space, but San Francisco's back. I was at an open house Saturday out in, where was I? Way out in Richmond. And the house, you walk into the garage, the typical San Francisco house. If you know, the first floor garage, it had these it's a duplex actually, two archaic heaters, which needed to have like guys with hazmat suits come out and remove, attached to the vents that were full of asbestos. I mean, it was just horrible. The rest of the house was just clean and neat and nice and clean. And people lived there, gazillion years, and they had a tenant there, just moved into a nursing home. So if this was 5 months ago, and I have a client who likes this kind of stuff, we could have gotten it for, I don't know, $1.1 million, $1.2 million at the most.
Mhm.
Well, now it's listed at $1.4 million, and I'm sure it's going to go at least $1.6 million.
Whoa.
And now she can't find anything. And it's tough because just even out in the fog,
Mhm.
people don't care. So San Francisco is crazy. San Francisco is back. Even the condos are moving. Some of them are. Some of them aren't. But that's the biggest problem in real estate this week is San Francisco prices going up.
Wow.
There we go.
Well, this has been another episode of We Fix Real Estate. Jen, any last words?
Just come out and keep looking at houses when you're and come with our services.
Persistence pays off.
Totally. All right. Go away, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Adios.